When you think of a broken champion in League, who do you think of? If you've played League a long time, the number of possibilities is almost endless. You might think of Old Kassadin or AP Master Yi.
One more Alpha Strike, he can get another triple here. That is one.
Oh, the Master Yi, Penta.
That's a triple, that's the quadra, and the chase! Penta kill! Penta kill!
Players who started League more recently might think of Cassante or Smolder. I was originally going to use Aphelios as an example of a recent broken champion, and then realized that he's been in the game for over 5 years. I try not to think about it. I can almost guarantee that when you thought of a broken champion, you did not think of Alistar, and maybe you should have. If you look at the total bans across all world tournaments, Alistar is historically one of League's most banned champions. At the end of Worlds Season 2, Alistar was the most banned champion in total across both worlds, and during Worlds 2014, he was again the most banned champion. Worlds 2018, the second highest overall presence, behind only Aatrox, and the second most banned right next to Akali. As recently as 2019, Alistar was still the most banned champion across all World Tournament main events, tied with Syndra at 159 total bans. Today, he is the third most banned champion across all worlds, tied with Lucian. Oh, and don't worry about Kalista for now. We'll be covering her in a different video. During Worlds 2014, Alistar made it through ban phase only 5 times throughout the entire tournament. And when he did make it through the ban phase, he was locked in every single time. Not only that, out of those 5 games, he won 4. If you're a new player, you might be thinking, wow, support must have been broken in that patch. And if that is what you're thinking, you're in for a surprise. Because Alistar wasn't really a support during Worlds 2014. He was a top laner who built crit items.
Chain Vest, he still gets shredded. Dyrus turning up towards Candy Panda, 2v1. Has he got the damage? I think Candy Panda must have gone deep on towards the tower to have this much damage.
He's got that Triforce move speed.
He's still going.
There's so much that the other team can do with this. Dyrus is holding Candy Panda and Enraid hostage right now.
Alistar wasn't just good. Alistar was broken. When I said he was building crit items, that wasn't a joke. You probably pictured a build like this. But Alistar's build actually looked like this. Yes, you are seeing that right. Top lane Alistar built an Infinity Edge at Worlds. How is it that Riot let this happen?
Stampede!
Was it avoidable, or did Alistar show up out of nowhere as a new pick at Worlds, doing basically everything? This video is going to answer those questions, and cover the story and legacy of one of League's most banned champions of all time, Alistar.
You can't milk those!
You probably know what Alistar does, and if you don't know, he does this. The Alistar that existed during Worlds 2014 has a few big differences from the version that exists in the game today. His passive made him ignore unit collision after casting a spell and deal area damage around him for 3 seconds. For a long time, it dealt double damage to minions and monsters. A real throwback is that his passive before this one just made him deal more damage to turrets. His Q, Pulverize, knocks enemies around him into the air. His W, Headbutt, knocks enemies back, displacing them. Combining the two gives you his signature combo. There is some secret tech that we'll be talking about soon too. For now, just know his combo wasn't only Headbutt and Pulverize. Alistar's E, Triumphant Roar, generated a stack whenever he stunned or displaced an enemy, or a nearby enemy died. At max stacks, he healed himself and nearby allies. And finally, Alistar's ultimate, Unbreakable Will. It removed any crowd control effects on Alistar and granted him 70% damage reduction for 7 seconds, from rank 1. For reference, today it starts at 55% damage reduction. It already sounds really strong, right? Well, it was even stronger than you may think, because that was just one part of his ultimate. It also granted him 60 attack damage for the duration. Yes, 60 attack damage at rank 1. But it was not like the flat damage reduction. It actually did scale, up to 90 attack damage at max rank. In Modern League, BF Sword gives 40 attack damage. Alistar got over 2 of them for free, along with 70% damage reduction and the removal of crowd control. I mentioned before that there was some secret tech for Alistar related to his WQ combo. This ancient technique would be removed immediately after Worlds 2014. So, what was it? By right-clicking or attack moving while using Alistar's Headbutt, he could auto-attack a champion after headbutting them. When you first hear that, it might not sound like too big of a deal.
Okay.
But extra damage is extra damage after all. There's also other factors to consider. Alistar was building items like Triforce and Static Shiv. This meant that the free auto attack was adding way more damage than just an auto attack. Essentially, his headbutt was now dealing the damage of the ability itself, an auto attack which could be buffed by almost 100 AD thanks to his ultimate, and also the effect of Triforce, Static Shiv, or Sheen. If Alistar wanted to go for an all-in, he could do his W auto Q combo. If he didn't want to all-in, he could just headbutt and auto attack. For almost all champions, this removed all counterplay. You couldn't trade back because you just got knocked away, plus you just took a bunch of damage from an undodgeable point-and-click combo. He could do all that damage to you while diving your turret and being almost unkillable because of his ult. He was tanky enough to ignore the turret while building full damage. To do his combo, he only had to point and click W, so there really wasn't much you could do if Alistar decided to roam and tower dive you. Or if he decided to teleport behind you.
Dyrus teleports in!
They are so dead.
5-man pylon in the bottom! SK Gaming in all sorts of trouble! Freddy comes down to join the party, but he's simply just another death for TSM! That's a double for Wild Turtle! 3 for 0! Fantastic play by TSM!
Sometimes, when you're under a turret, you just have to give up. At that point, the teleport was completely wasted. TSM had a monstrous advantage. There was no escape, and SK just makes matters worse.
Wow! Gilius going down. Justice in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the cow comes in to give him the 1-4.
Before jumping into Worlds 2014, we had to talk about the previous seasons. Alistar was the second most played champion during Worlds Season 1, below only Nunu. He appeared in 3 different roles with a wide range of playstyles and builds. When played support in Season 1, he built gold per 5 items, often multiple, plus boots and Sheen, which eventually became a Triforce. Rest in peace, Heart of Gold, I will never forget you. When played in the jungle, Alistar usually built boots and whatever AP items he could afford. He focused on ganking and diving as much as possible. But in the mid lane, Alistar was famously an AP carry. Shout out to Shushay, who even played it in the first Worlds Finals. You might be picturing a sort of tanky AP mage hybrid, but that was not the case.
And we see the exact same pixelband.
Alright, there's the Alistar.
I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm happy
I hear
right
you
there,
smile on your face.
This is going to be Shushay's infamous AP Alistar. Oh,
Looking to get out of that one. Dabe very hurt in that situation. And Alistar again pushing into the face of Wormy. Will Shushay be able to get a second kill onto Karthus? And he does. The ultimate already used, and it looks like he's just going to try to lay waste as Alistar runs away.
they're choosing not to go for it. They're trying to catch someone, and they're catching Amumu, who flashes out. Will he get away? There's a slow wall from Karthus, but Amumu is actually going in, triggering his ultimate, but there's just not enough damage output there. Then Twisted Fate is coming back in with his ultimate from behind. He is getting forced down. Corki is going to take him down in no time. Fnatic XP goes down. Karthus goes down to a Ice Blast. Corki actually in the AoE there from Karthus also goes down. Shushay has enough health and cleans up the team, and that's an ace against Pacific from Fnatic. And now Shushay with the Soul Stealer. He's like, yeah, this is when you buy a Soul Stealer. When you're 805, that's when you buy a Soul Stealer. And yeah, he's doing really, really well for himself.
Oh wow, the damage output coming from Alistar. Flash away from Karthus, caught on the pool and ultimate. And Vi going down as Garen, and it looks like Gibo may go down as well. The Karthus ultimate coming out, but so much damage being done, it's really not going to negate that. And they are going to be able to just focus TF here. He is forced to run out of his own base. On their side to 23. A very nice job getting caught up. Can he get the pulverize down? Almost taking him down from full health.
Deathcap, Magi Soul Stealer, and Lichbane were the main items for AP Alistar. Oh, and don't forget Deathfire Grasp for good measure. See, Alistar's Q had a 100% AP ratio, and for a long time, so did his W. Both of these ratios would of course be nerfed over time, but don't ever forget that at one point Alistar was hitting you for the base damage of 2 abilities, plus 200% of his AP, and then whatever on-hit effects he happened to have, all at once on a point-and-click combo. By the time Shushay played Alistar during World Season 1, the ratios had already been nerfed, down to 80% and 60%. Then after Worlds, they were nerfed again, down to 70 and 50. Oh, and his heal? That had a 40% AP ratio too, which was nerfed to 20%. During Season 2 Worlds, Alistar was the most banned champion of the entire tournament, tied with Jace. He was only played in 5 games total, once as jungle and the rest as support. Season 3 Worlds was the first Worlds where Alistar wasn't a highly contested pick. Instead, he wasn't picked or banned at all, not one single time. A few months before Worlds 2014 began, Alistar received some buffs in patch 4.12. As I mentioned earlier, Alistar's ultimate at the time of Worlds 2014 gave a 70% damage reduction from rank 1. That was actually a pretty recent change. Before patch 4.12, it only gave 50% damage reduction, scaling to 70% at max rank.
Alistar now has lower mana costs and an early buff to his ult, but junglers take note, his passive no longer deals double damage to monsters.
There was also another big buff to his ultimate. The damage reduction now applied instantly instead of only applying once the ult animation finished. Before this patch, you could burst Alistar while he was activating his ult. He would take full damage during this time. It may not sound like a big deal, but it's the difference between taking a full damage tower shot or 30% of the damage of a tower shot. Or taking a full damage combo from someone instead of only 30% of someone's kit. So Alistar was one of the most important champions during Season 1 Worlds and Season 2 Worlds, then showed up not a single time during Worlds Season 3. With this history in mind, we can fast forward to Worlds 2014. During the first ban phase of the entire tournament, in the first match, this is what happened.
Where's the Alistar in the Maokai ban is what I'm wondering, because we were thinking that White was probably going to ban those away to keep them away from Koro. Koro doesn't actually play those champions very frequently, at least the Alistar, but that's because it's banned all the time.
During the second game of the tournament, Alistar actually did get through the ban phase, and this is how that went.
Darius picking Alistar, I expect Maokai to come back on the other side.
Ooh, awesome pickups to start. The cow does get through in game 2. Dyrus, he is on a warpath.
This is the Alistar dive. He can't do anything to Freddy, so why not go mid for Jessus?
Right into the wall. We'll stop him up for a little bit longer. The synergy comes in from the Mad Cow. Jessus ignited. Jessus is down.
The only way Jessus lives through that is if he flashes while Darius is trying to headbutt him. He does not. He gets displaced. Bjergsen ults on top. It is a systematic, well-executed gank by TSM. Just in the nick of time, barely taking any damage.
Oh, Crescendo does not land this time around, and that's the Aqua Prism followed by the bubble. Brilliant play, but then Radiant gets away. Wild Turtle not going to get turned around. Candy Panda wants to pursue, but Amazing's coming in around the side. Candy gets back up towards him, comes around the backside and ready. Sonic Wave doesn't land. No reactions. Bjergsen comes in. Dyrus teleports in.
They are so dead.
5-man pylon in the bottom. SK Gaming in all sorts of trouble. Freddy comes down to join the party, but he's simply just another death for TSM. That's a double for Wild Turtle. 3 for 0. Fantastic play by TSM. And a chain vest. He still gets shredded. Dyrus turning on towards Candy Panda. 2v1. Has he got the damage? I think Candy Panda must have gone deep on towards the tower to have this much damage.
He's got that Triforce move speed.
He's still going.
There's so much that the other team can do with this.
TSM clearly went on to win that game, and it set the tone for the Alistar pick for the rest of the tournament.
Alistar, however, is open for Samson White. Only second time he's not been banned, I believe. Maybe third time.
The two both heading up topside, but it looks like Crystal heads towards mid and Bab gets under the turret.
Oh, this is bad news for him. That's a good flash over, but Dante will follow through. The Rune Prison's not going to be enough, and that is first blood.
Just look at how many tower shots Alistar takes during this dive.
Dandy and Luke are coming into this one. There is the slow, and he is going to land. The combo comes in from Alistar. Fabulous here. He's going to go down. Rune Prison is not going to be enough for him, and that is kill number 2, both of which have now gone to Dandy.
This makes a lot of sense when you think about it. I mean, look at his ultra tanky build.
I have to say, just the way that Samsung White played that fight as well. I mean, Han went and took the cube from Crystal so that Tandy survived that as well. Bab should probably get away from this. I don't know, there's flash. Well,
Zed is coming.
oh,
Boom. Yeah, cheating headbutt into auto attack, which of course still in at this stage, making Alistar still so very, very strong. That leaves Samsung White 7-0 on 4,000 gold. They're just going to go straight through onto this one. Got a few minions with them, and there is a flash in from Looper. They're going out towards Fabulous. He gets blown up instantly. Touch there at the front, trying to block out as much damage as he can, but Samsung White have done enough for the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor. 18 minutes and 50 into this one. You're going to be seeing the first inhib of the game going down.
yeah, that That one's definitely going down, and they very well could swing. Oh, never mind.
He's dead.
They might just finish the game here.
Yeah, looking maybe for an under 20-minute victory. And then back out to the ward, a bit of showmanship. Here as the Howling Gale comes in, Looper gonna pop his ultimate, he's underneath the turret, but he's a big, beefy Alistar with that ultimate going, the double kill comes down, 4.5, Fabulous is gonna explode, and now they're on towards Touch. Dandy will flash in for that one, we've got him going towards Holy Phoenix, goes down, the Phosphorus Bomb is not enough, Dandy's gonna jump there into it.
Throughout Worlds, Alistar's ban rate would only increase. The first match of Worlds was on September 18th, and Alistar's final match of the tournament was on September 27th. This meant that he was banned for the next 39 games in a row until the tournament ended on October 19th. The thing about Alistar is that he really had everything you could want. His headbutt auto combo allowed him to poke with no counterplay. If he did get engaged on or ganked, he still had his Q to use defensively. He could engage at any time for his jungler, so he was really easy to gank for. Plus, he could tank the tower himself very easily. He had sustain, so he could survive in lane, and with all of his defensive cooldowns, it was really difficult to ever kill him. It was pretty much impossible to dive him. Even if you did successfully gank Alistar and manage to put him behind, it didn't matter at all. Because of his ult and guaranteed CC, he was always going to be useful to his team throughout the game, no matter what you did.
Active.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is! The ball delivery system, there it is! They get it there by 10 a.m. guaranteed. And it looks like it's going to be Dyrus running for the hills. Doublets gets himself in range. The fade speed, the W passive speed, all the speed necessary for the double kill.
He could roam or teleport to any lane, and if you didn't have flash, you were simply dead. Zilean, another champion who was known as incredibly strong at the time, appeared in 13 matches total, while Alistar only appeared in 5. The only thing that could be scarier than Alistar running at you with a bunch of crit items and 70% damage reduction is him doing it with a massive speed increase on top of it. So how is it that Riot let this happen? Especially when you consider that the buffs to Alistar that made him so popular were in patch 4.12, over 2 months before the start of Worlds. You might be thinking that maybe Alistar didn't get popular until close to the start of Worlds, and Riot just didn't have time to nerf him. Well, during the summer seasons, every region was being menaced by Kassadin. If you watched my last video, you'll remember patch 4.12 well. The same patch that nerfed Kassadin also happened to buff Alistar heavily, which we went over earlier. Riot said in the patch notes that they wanted to bring Alistar back up as a support pick, but they were worried that the buffs would bring back the jungling Cow King. They mentioned that the 70% damage reduction at level 1 might be too good, but they would wait to see how the changes panned out. It took players a little while to start playing Alistar top lane, with NA and EU only playing Alistar in the support role at first. During GPL's 2014 summer split, it was TPA who first played Alistar top lane, for 2 matches that they won. This was the start of Alistar's rise in top lane, and he instantly became a top pick. During China's regional finals before Worlds and during LPL summer playoffs, Alistar had a 100% pick or ban rate. During the regional finals in Korea, Alistar was banned in every single game. And finally, during the NALCS summer playoffs, Alistar was only left open during 2 games, and won both. In patch 4.15, they announced they were nerfing Alistar, but the patch was only a couple of weeks before Worlds would begin, and Worlds was going to be played on patch 4.14 instead. The patch notes said their concern with the initial buffs were about making him too strong in the jungle, but they were wrong, and he actually terrorized top lane instead. Riot removed his headbutt auto-attack combo because it really had no counterplay. They point out how non-interactive Alistar could get, especially combined with items like Sheen. Unfortunately, Riot did not learn from this mistake, and champions being difficult to interact with would be an ongoing issue in League for many years to come. On the bright side, Riot did learn from this. They would no longer make big changes too close to Worlds going forward. I'm kidding, of course. Worlds the following year would feature the Juggernaut patch, where a bunch of champions were reworked immediately before the tournament. What could possibly go wrong? If you'd like to see more about how that went, you can check out my video that covers it in depth. Alistar would keep his 70% damage reduction until May of 2016, and he kept the attack damage part of his ult until November 2016 when it was also removed. When talking about old League and champions that were really strong, Alistar is rarely, if ever, brought up, even though to this day he is still one of the most banned champions across all world tournaments. I'm curious, how many of you played League back then? Let me know if you've ever been one-shot by an AP Alistar. On this channel, I usually cover champions that are widely known as being broken or overpowered. Do you like this sort of content that focuses on champions and builds that aren't often talked about? And what would you like to see me cover next? Let me know down below. Before finishing up, I wanted to take a moment to thank you all for supporting the channel. Every like or comment really does go a long way, and as always, thank you for watching.
Stampede! You can't milk those!